Let's meet at the library. Okay.
Hi everyone, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here to do my January TBR. First one of the year. It's very exciting. So for 2020, I have kind of this ambitious idea that I want to do a different TBR challenge every month. So for January, I sent a DM to the lovely Alexa from Library of Alexa to see if she would be okay with me borrowing her idea of the Goodreads challenge. She so kindly said yes. So here we are to do the Goodreads challenge, to pick my January TBR. If you don't know what a TBR is, that stands for to be read. So these are the books that I'm going to try to read in January. I introduced that and explained that because I now know that I have some lovely friends who are not from the bookish community who are watching. Hey guys. So just wanted to make sure they were in the know. So the way the Goodreads challenge works is that Alexa pulled them out of a hat and she took the different ways that Goodreads sorts your want to read shelf, and she took you can reverse the list. So for example, the ways that you can organize the list are by the date you added them, the position, which is technically the same thing unless you move them around. I never do. Alphabetical by title, alphabetical by author, the average rating, so if they're high or low rated, the number of ratings they have, the publication year, and the number of pages. There's also if you own them and if they have a cover. I left those two out because the owned shelf is not correct for me. I don't know why Goodreads assumes that I own those books that it's telling me I own. I don't. And has the cover is a stupid way for this purpose, so we're not going to do that either. So that left 8 categories. So I had Siri pick a random number for me from those 8, and then I said heads or tails to see if I should have the arrow go up or go down. It's going to be on the screen somewhere, so you'll see what I'm talking about. And the arrow just reverses the list. So like if the arrow is up on title, it's going to start with a title that starts with A. If the arrow is down for sort by title, it would start with Z or whatever I have. I hope that makes sense. I figured that since I on average can read about 6 books per month, some months are much better than that, some months are even fewer, that 6 would be a safe number to go with. And I also wanted to prioritize books that I either own physically or know that I have easy access to through the library. My intention is not to go out buying books for any of these challenges. I already own plenty of books. So if you see me like seemingly picking and choosing, it's because like, oh, I know that that's on Hoopla, or oh, I know that's at my parents' house. So that's that. So the first result of this Siri randomization was to be organized by author, and it started with the letter A. So the first book here is Liar, Temptress, Soldier, Spy by Karen Abbott. And this book is a nonfiction about 4 women who were spies in the Civil War, the American Civil War. And it just sounds very interesting. It seems like from the reviews, some people have concerns about like how much of it is kind of fictionalized based on these real women. But it sounds like there's a lot of primary sources involved, and I'm just always here for like feminist history. That's always fun to learn about. So I'm very interested in this one, and I know that my library has it both on Libby and on Hoopla, so it should be no trouble trying to get access to that. For the next random pick, I got author again, but this time the list is flipped, so whatever is at the end of the alphabet. And for this was another one that I know that my library has on Hoopla because I've favorited it just because I've been keeping my eye on it, and that is Young Jane Young by Gabrielle Zevin. This is a book that kind of sounds like it's kind of inspired by Monica Lewinsky. I guess it's a woman who gets involved in a political scandal, or like something, she's a politician and something comes up from her past, but I just thought it sounded really interesting and like a very powerful story, so curious how that will be. Next, it was organized by title, again, reverse alphabetical order, which actually gave me Young Jane Young again, so technically I think that counts, but I thought I'd give myself another book just to get to that full 6 and not kind of cheat on the very first month of a challenge. Jeez. And so the next one on my TBR that I own is Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo. I almost read this, I think for the Booktubeathon last year. No, for the Booktube Games. That's what I almost read it for. And I'm very curious. The only Leigh Bardugo that I've read is the first book of the Grisha trilogy, whichever one that is. So I'm curious, and I loved the Wonder Woman movie, and I'm very curious about the second one that's coming out. So we'll see. For the fourth book, I landed on Position, and this just meant the most recently added to my TBR. It's so redundant. And that is Cyrano de Bergerac by Edmond Rostand. And I was just talking about this play with Kara, and I thought it was already on my TBR, but it wasn't, so I had added it. And then I was very excited when I pulled it out for this challenge, because she was like, look, this play made me cry, and she and I have very similar taste, and I love a good cry. And I think she also mentioned it because it has like my favorite love triangle thing where everyone cares about one another in a certain way, shape, or form. So all of that sounds amazing to me, and it's a play, so it'll be really easy to get through, and it's a classic, so it should be really easy to access. I think I'll actually probably read it as an ebook, but if not, I know I can get it from the library, easy peasy. Next, I got the exact same pairing, Position and most recent. So the next one that I knew I could access easily is another classic, Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. This is going to be my first Hardy, so I'm curious. I really, really loved the movie of Far From the Madding Crowd, and I know I've watched Tess of the D'Urbervilles, but it was like a really long time ago, like I was in high school, I think, and I just remember it being like super depressing, so we'll see if I like it, but I'm very curious about it. And this means I'm gonna have 2 classics under my belt by the end of the first month of the year, which is amazing because my goal is always to read like at least 1 classic every other month, so we're gonna surpass that goal clearly. This is another one that I will also probably listen to as an audiobook. Just knowing me, I like a good classic as an audiobook. It really like it sets the atmosphere, if you will. But you never know, I might just go grab it from the library if I'm in the mood. And then finally, this was so perfect, I got date added and oldest, which means that I can continue my other yearly challenge. If you don't know, you probably don't, because I didn't make the wrap-up video of this yet. I tried to read the 12 oldest books from my TBR/bookshelf in the year of 2019. I read 1 per month, except I actually haven't finished November and December yet, but it's still December while I'm filming this, so that's kosher. Basically, I'm doing that again this year, and that means that one of the books that I haven't finished is still on there, Outlander by Diana, what's her name? Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I have it right here. Da, 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 da. Yes, I have the TV show cover, and yes, it's a mass market paperback. Don't know why I did that to myself. So if I don't have this read by the end of December, you know, in like 4 days, then this will be the book. And if not, it'll be the book that I'm technically supposed to be reading in January anyways. So in reality, I'll probably be reading both of these books, which means I'm at 7 instead of 6. It's fine. One is a play. And that's Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. It's somewhere in my house. Where did I put that dang book? Oh, it's all the way over there. I'm not gonna get it. I know this book has very mixed opinions. It, I guess, is not written in a way that is favorable to people who are wheelchair users, but also seems like it could be a tearjerker. So like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. I don't know if like the insensitivity of it will affect me as an able-bodied person. That sounds really bad. You know what I mean? Like, it might be things that I wouldn't notice unless I had been told. So I'm very curious how I will perceive this story and if I will like it, because it was really hyped up and then really dragged down, and I haven't seen the movie, so we shall see. So those are the 6, kind of 7 books that I will definitely be reading for the Goodreads challenge in January. And I also, oh, I need to mention, silly me, let me back it up in my notebook. There are 2 other things that I'm going to try to be doing each month with my TBRs. One is that I would love to read more Shakespeare this year, so I'm going to try to go through his works in chronological order to the best of our knowledge as people who were not alive in Elizabethan England. So scholars have some differing opinions, but as far as we know, the first play that Shakespeare wrote, or published maybe, was Henry the Sixth. I can read Roman numerals. I'm like, why did I write it that way? I'm dumb. Except for some reason, the internet told me that part 2 came first, or maybe it was part 3. So I'm gonna read Henry the First, or no. So I'm gonna read Henry the Sixth in order. So I'll be trying to read Henry the Sixth part 1, and then part 2 and part 3 in January, February, March. That took way too long to say. So that brings us up to 8 books, and I also have A Galley for Foul is Fair by Hannah Capin, and that comes out in February, so I would preferably like to read it before it comes out, because my NetGalley, actually it's not even from NetGalley. How did I get that hookup? Whatever. My NetGalley percentage is pathetic, so I might be trying to retroactively go through some of my galleys each month too. I just hate reading ebooks. I much prefer audio or a physical book. So we'll see about that. Okay, so those are the 8, kind of 9 books that I'm hoping to read in January. Last year I think I read like 11 books in January, so I have faith I can do this. So I will be sure to keep you up to date with all of my reading. So if you don't want to wait until February to hear my feelings on these books, make sure you go down below and follow me on Goodreads or Twitter or Instagram or all of those things, so you can hear my thoughts kind of in live time. I'm a little bit better at keeping up with those than I have been previously with YouTube, although you have to admit, my girl's doing pretty good right now. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and you'll see more of me soon. Bye!